Melanie Papalia, the dazzling Canadian actress who has graced both television and film with her undeniable talent and magnetic presence, has suddenly found herself at the center of one of the most explosive celebrity conversations of the year, and it is all because of a series of bikini photos that the internet has deemed far too provocative, too daring, and, according to shocked fans, inappropriate for even adults. These photos, dripping with glamour, sensuality, and unapologetic boldness, have launched her from being a well-respected actress known for roles in The Den, Suits, and You Me Her, into a viral sensation whose name is now being whispered across every corner of Hollywood and shouted across every platform of social media. What makes this story even more shocking is not simply that Melanie posed in a bikini. After all, countless stars have done so before, but rather the way she did it, with a fearless confidence that seemed to break every rule of Hollywood's carefully curated image-making. In the photos, she doesn't just wear a bikini. She owns it, making the camera bow to her energy, forcing audiences to see her not just as an actress, but as a woman in complete command of her allure, and this has triggered a tidal wave of fascination, obsession, and controversy. Fans are divided. Some hail her as the embodiment of empowerment, saying her boldness is exactly what modern Hollywood needs, while others argue that the photos are simply too much, that they cross the line between tasteful glamour and explicit sensuality, leaving many in disbelief that such images could ever be released by a star of her caliber. Yet, whether critics approve or not, Melanie's pictures have already etched themselves into the cultural conversation because in them she has managed to do something many celebrities spend decades attempting. She has made herself unforgettable. The world's reaction has been explosive. Within hours of the photos surfacing online, Twitter exploded with hashtags bearing her name, Instagram fan pages flooded with reposts, and entertainment sites scrambled to publish commentary pieces, each headline more sensational than the last. Melanie Papalia's bikini shocks Hollywood, too inappropriate to ignore, the photos that stopped social media. This isn't just about a bikini moment. This is about a woman rewriting the rules of stardom in real time. Papalia has long been admired for her girl-next-door charm mixed with her dramatic screen presence, but now she's adding another layer to her legacy, the fearless siren who isn't afraid to show the world exactly who she is. And in these pictures, she shows everything. The toned curves sculpted by years of dedication, the glowing skin that radiates under the sunlight, and most importantly, the unapologetic fire in her eyes that seems to say to the world, "This is me, and I don't care if you can handle it or not." The sheer drama of these images has left fans gasping, not just because of what they reveal, but because of the attitude that comes with them, an attitude of rebellion, empowerment, and raw allure that Hollywood doesn't often allow women to display without consequence. But Melanie Papalia is not here to play safe, and these pictures prove it. The cultural conversation sparked by these images goes beyond simple celebrity gossip. It dives into the heart of how society views women in power, women in Hollywood, and women who dare to own their sensuality. Some argue that Papalia is setting a dangerous precedent, that her bikini photos are inappropriate not because of what they show but because of how boldly they present it, as if daring society to accept her as more than just a performer. Others counter that this is exactly what makes her an icon, a woman unafraid to strip away the pretenses of Hollywood perfection and instead flaunt herself as she is, confident, unapologetic, and utterly captivating. And in doing so, she has joined the ranks of bold stars like Salma Hayek, Megan Fox, and Sofia Vergara, women who have often faced backlash for embracing their sensual side but who ultimately shaped the conversation about female power in entertainment. The way Papalia's photos have been devoured by the public is proof that society is both obsessed with and threatened by female confidence. The shock, the outrage, the admiration, it all comes from the same place. Melanie has dared to do what so few do, and now no one can look away. As the photos continue to circulate, the reactions only grow more intense. Tabloid magazines are rushing to print glossy spreads featuring her bikini shots. Bloggers are writing think pieces about the thin line between art and indecency, and fans across the globe are either posting fire emojis in support or shaking their heads in disbelief. It is the duality of her impact, Adored by some, criticized by others, that proves her photos are not just fleeting entertainment, but a cultural event. And the timing couldn't be more perfect. At a point in her career where she could have faded into the background of Hollywood's endless churn of new faces, Papalia has instead launched herself into the spotlight with a daring move that ensures she won't be forgotten. Her bikini photos may be controversial, but they are also brilliant, a marketing masterstroke that reintroduces her not just as an actress, but as a brand, a phenomenon, a story people can't stop talking about. And let's talk about the photos themselves, because they deserve the attention. Shot against a backdrop of sunlit beaches and shimmering waves, they look more like pages ripped from a high-fashion editorial than casual bikini snaps. The angles, the lighting, the confidence, it's all deliberate, all perfectly orchestrated to make her look like a goddess descended from the heavens. The bikinis themselves are daring, cut to accentuate every curve, leaving very little to the imagination, and yet it's not the fabric that captures attention but the woman wearing it. Melanie doesn't just pose, she commands, transforming what could have been just another bikini moment into an unforgettable spectacle. In one shot, she looks directly into the camera with a gaze so powerful it almost feels like she's staring straight into the soul of the viewer. In another, she turns away, allowing the sun to kiss her skin in a way that makes her seem ethereal, untouchable. These aren't just photos. They are art pieces disguised as tabloid fodder, masterpieces of allure that leave audiences stunned. But with every breathtaking image comes the backlash. Parents on social media are calling the photos dangerously inappropriate, arguing that they set the wrong example for younger fans. Critics say that Papalia has gone too far, abandoning her respectable image for cheap sensationalism. And yet, every negative comment seems only to fuel her fame, pushing her further into the spotlight as fans rush to defend her, saying that she has every right to own her body and flaunt it however she chooses. The debate has become so heated that even mainstream news outlets have started covering it, treating her bikini pictures as though they are cultural flashpoints, symbols of a bigger fight over women's rights, sexuality, and freedom in Hollywood. This controversy is no accident. It is the mark of a celebrity who knows exactly what she is doing, who understands that in today's world, visibility is power, and Papalia has seized it with both hands. And as Melanie Papalia continued to captivate audiences with her unapologetic charm, her bikini photos became more than just a momentary viral sensation. They turned into a defining chapter of her public identity, sparking conversations not only about beauty and allure but also about the power of confidence and the shifting standards of Hollywood stardom. Because here was an actress who had often been seen as the charming girl-next-door type in films and television shows, suddenly commanding attention in a way that even seasoned A-list icons sometimes struggled to achieve, and this transformation left fans absolutely stunned, unable to scroll past without pausing to marvel at her radiant energy, because these images weren't simply about revealing fashion choices, they were about sending a clear and powerful message. Melanie Papalia was no longer playing small roles in anyone else's story. She was owning her spotlight. She was standing tall in her authenticity, and the world had no choice but to look twice, gasp, and admit that she had reached an entirely new level of stardom. And the conversation around her only grew louder as entertainment outlets, fan pages, and social media influencers debated the deeper meaning behind her bold display, with some praising her for her fearless approach to self-expression, while others claimed her photos were too daring, too bold, and maybe even too inappropriate for traditional Hollywood standards. And yet it was exactly this daring edge that made her unforgettable, setting her apart from countless others who played it safe, because Melanie had decided that safe was no longer an option, and in an industry that thrives on risks, her decision proved to be nothing short of brilliant, as directors, producers, and casting agents suddenly began to envision her in roles they would have never considered before. Roles that required not just beauty but the ability to command attention, to exude confidence, and to embody the kind of complexity that only a truly magnetic performer could deliver. And this evolution of her image marked a new chapter in her journey, a chapter where she was no longer defined by what others expected but rather by the bold standard she set for herself. and fans were eager to follow her every step, flooding comment sections with words of awe, admiration, and endless support. With hashtags dedicated to her bikini photos trending across platforms, turning a simple moment into a cultural phenomenon. Because people weren't just seeing a star in swimwear, they were witnessing a woman embracing her power in the most unapologetic way possible, and that unapologetic energy was intoxicating, unforgettable, and undeniably inspiring to a generation of women and men who saw in her the courage to break free of boxes, labels, and the suffocating grip of outdated expectations. And as the frenzy continued, Melanie herself responded not with defensive explanations, but with her signature grace and confidence, smiling in interviews, posting cryptic yet empowering captions, and letting her pictures speak louder than any words could. And this subtle yet powerful approach only fueled her allure further, proving that sometimes the most provocative act is not the reveal itself, but the refusal to justify it, because Melanie understood that real power doesn't come from seeking approval, it comes from living fully in one's truth. And in that moment, captured forever in those viral bikini shots, she embodied that truth in dazzling clarity, cementing her place not just as an actress, but as a modern icon of fearlessness, beauty, and evolution, a star whose boldness forced the world to gasp, look twice, and remember her name in ways that no one could ever erase.